my first kind of international trip that I ever took was to Bali, Indonesia, and there was for Liberty International, which is an organization that he was working with at the time. They were having a conference to discuss kind of just all the different kind of political various goings on in the world, and trying to promote liberty and freedom. So I went there, and that was kind of my first excursion. When I first landed,
How old were you? How old were you?
I was supposed to have I was 14 years old, so very young. So I ended up being when I flew into Bali, I was supposed to have a phone working so that I could call my family, and if I had any issues or anything like that. But that ended up not working out. The plan that we had signed up for did not work with the phone I had, so I had no way of contacting my family in any capacity. I was going to have a driver that was supposed to meet me, but unbeknownst to me, I had arrived an hour earlier. And so I waited about 30 minutes and then, started to panic and freak out as a 14-year-old in a country where no one really spoke my language and didn't have a way to contact my family. And so kind of just survival instincts kicked in, I guess. And I decided that I had the address, so I was just going to hop in a taxi and hope that he could get me there. He told me that he knew where the place was, and then we took off. It was about a 30-minute ride. And then when we started to get close, he started to pull over and ask people for directions. So stressing me out. I was calm and collected in the car. I'm like, oh, it's fine. I'll get there. It'll be okay. And then he started asking people for directions. He asked about 4 people, and none of them knew where it was. And then just by chance, I happened to see the address kind of off on the street. I just happened to pick it out. And so I was like, go here. And I made it. But it was extremely stressful. And that was kind of my mom, they had to call my mom and tell her that they didn't know where I was. And she was crying hysterically, like, oh, my son's gone, he's been kidnapped, like all these things, just kind of freaking out. But yeah, it was the first kind of real moment in my life where I had to just problem solve and figure it out, because if no one was there to help me, and it was something that I needed to do, and that definitely shaped my personality. It was a very pivotal moment in my life where I realized, like, oh, I can like, that was crazy, but I can problem solve now, and like anything the world throws at me, I can take and figure out. So
I once worked with the man whose father was a very wealthy entrepreneur who had left when Mao took over in China and ended up in Brazil. But he said that the ideal education would be to drop kids off in a random city and have them find their way back.
Yeah.
Just, that kind of real world problem solving, it's incredible. You really learn.